Welcome students for the chemistry lecture, physical chemistry lecture, paper number 3. And you have learned the first law of thermodynamics. And all of you know the first law, it is the law of conservation of energy. That means energy neither created nor destroyed, but one form of energy, it will get converted into equivalent amount of another form of energy. Here, the first law, it does not tells us the information regarding the change. That means whether this change is spontaneous or non-spontaneous. What is the extent of the conversion of energy from one form to the another form? What is the direction of the change, then whether that change is exothermic or endothermic, and such kind of information is vitally essential for the chemist, druggist and pharmacist, and this is the need of second law of thermodynamics. And here the scientists Kelvin and Clausius, they have formulated the second law of thermodynamics. Last time I have explained you regarding the need of second law of thermodynamics, and today we will see the different statements of second law of thermodynamics. Here the first statement, here it is impossible to construct a machine operating in cycles that will convert heat into work without producing any other changes. That means the 100% conversion of heat into work, it is not possible. Some kind of heat or some part of heat, it will produce a mechanical work. Then the next statement, here all spontaneous change leads to an increase in the entropy of the world. Here in case of spontaneous processes, their disorder or chaos increases, and hence the entropy of all spontaneous processes is increases. That's why we will say that the entropy of universe goes on increasing. Then the another statements here, heat cannot pass of its own accord from a colder to a hotter body. That means passage of heat from cold end to the hot end, it is not possible. Here the next statement, all naturally occurring processes tend to proceed in a direction in which equilibrium will take place. Then the next statement, all spontaneous processes are reversible, and every natural or spontaneous process leads to the dissipation of energy. That is, the energy cannot be completely converted into work. Then it is impossible for a self-acting machine to convey heat from a body at low temperature to the body at higher temperature without addition of external energy or external agency. And the again most important statement, it is impossible to construct a machine which will convert heat into an equivalent amount of heat. That means uh, yet there is no any machine which has 100% efficiency. These are the some of statements of second law of thermodynamics. Then we will see the next point, that is the Carnot cycle. Here the Sadi Carnot, it is the name of scientist, and in 1824 he devised a cycle to represent the operation of an idealized heat engine. And heat engine, it means here this engine, it is connected with hot reservoir, and cold reservoir, and this heat engine, it absorbs heat from the hot reservoir which is kept at a higher temperature. It does work, and the remaining amount of heat, it is passed towards the cold reservoir. Here in this diagram it is shown that hot reservoir at temperature T2 absorbs Q2 amount of heat. Hot reservoir at temperature T2, it absorbs the Q2 amount of heat. Here the heat engine, it does the work W, and the remaining heat, that is minus Q1, it is uh, provided, or it is absorbed by the cold reservoir. Okay, this is the working of heat engine. So the Saudi Carnot in 1824 devised a cycle to represent the operation of an idealized heat engine. The arrangement of Carnot heat engine is shown in this figure, and the arrows indicate that in one cycle the engine receives heat Q2 from the hot reservoir at temperature T2 and rejects the remainder Q1 amount to the cold reservoir at temperature T1 and does the work W. In the present case, Q2 is positive, Q1 is negative, and W is positive because the work is done by the engine. The engine consists of working substance such as 1 mole of an ideal gas in an idealized cylinder fitted with wetless and frictionless piston. The cycle involves isothermal and adiabatic processes. For isothermal change, cylinder is placed in a hot reservoir at temperature T2 in a cold reservoir or a sink at temperature T1, and adiabatic change is achieved by insulating cylinder thermally so that Q, it is equal to 0. No loss of heat or gain of heat. So that we have insulated the cylinder thermally. Then the Carnot cycle consists of the following 4 steps, all carried out reversibly and are represented in a p-feed diagram called the indicator diagram. So this is the p-feed diagram or indicator diagram, and on the y-axis we have pressure values, on the x-axis we have volume values, and here at point A we have volume Phi1, at point B we have volume Phi2, at point C we have volume Phi3, and at point D we have volume Phi4. And the first step of Carnot cycle, it is the isothermal expansion. So, for carried out the isothermal expansion, the gas at T2 is allowed to expand isothermally and reversibly from the volume Phi1 to Phi2 along the path AB. Here, the cylinder is kept at temperature T2 and expansion of volume of gas from Phi1 to Phi2 takes place, and for doing this the cylinder, it absorbs Q2 amount of heat at temperature T2 here. Since in the isothermal expansion delta E, it is equal to 0, it follows from the first law of equation that delta E, it is equal to Q plus W, that the heat absorbed is equal to the work done by the system on the surrounding. And here I will show you diagrammatically in this figure. See, Carnot cycle and Carnot heat engine. Here, a Carnot cycle is a hypothetical cycle consists of four processes. Two are reversible isothermal processes and two are reversible adiabatic processes. Heat is caused to flow in working fluid by application of high temperature, energy source during expansion, and flow out of fluid by the application of lower temperature energy sink during compression. Then the assumptions made in Carnot cycle. Here, piston moving in the cylinder does not produce any friction. Piston moving in the cylinder does not produce any friction. The cylinder head is arranged in such a way that it can be perfect heat conductor or heat insulator. The walls of cylinder and piston are considered as perfect insulator of heat. Then heat transfer does not affect temperature source or sink. Compression and expansion are reversible and working is perfect gas and has constant specific heat. So this is the Carnot's heat engine. Here this is a source, that means high temperature T2, and this absorbs Q2 amount of heat at temperature T2 or higher temperature. Then this engine, it does work out होतं इथून, and the remaining amount of heat Q1, it is given out to the sink. This is the heat engine. This sink, it is at T1 temperature or lower temperature. Then idealized thermodynamic cycle consisting of four reversible processes. Here, the four steps of Carnot heat engine are reversible isothermal expansion, and this is the cylinder. It contains a ideal gas, and this cylinder is kept in a hot reservoir. This is the hot reservoir. Outer side, this is a hot reservoir, and this is at higher temperature T2, and due to higher temperature, this gas, it absorbs Q2 amount of heat, and the volume of gas, it changes from Phi1 to Phi2. This is the first step, isothermal expansion of gas. Then to carry out the second step of the Carnot cycle, and that is the reversible adiabatic compression. Here this cylinder is insulated. This cylinder is insulated, and the Q, it is equal to 0, and it does the work of expansion. That means here the volume, it changes from Phi2 to Phi3. This is the second step. For that, we have insulated this cylinder, insulating stand. We have kept this cylinder on insulating stand so that the temperature of the system or heat of the system, it does not change. Here the temperature, it remains as it is, that means T2, and the volume change takes place from Phi2 to Phi3. Then the next step, third step, that is the reversible isothermal compression expansion, reversible isothermal compression. And for doing this isothermal compression, here the absorbed heat, it is given out due to compression. The heat which is absorbed by the gas, it is given out to the cold reservoir, and that amount of heat, it is a Q1 at a temperature T1, and here the volume changes from V3 to V4. Here the volume changes from V3 to V4, and the last step of the Carnot cycle, it is the reversible adiabatic compression. That means from step 4 to step 1. Here the Q, it is equal to 0 as it is a adiabatic process, and the temperature of the system, it changes from lower temperature to higher temperature, and the volume of the gas, it changes from V4 to V1. That means we arrive at the initial step of the Carnot cycle, and that initial step, it is the isothermal expansion of the gas. At that time the volume of the gas is V1. These are the 4 steps of the Carnot cycle. Remember that the first step of Carnot cycle, it is isothermal expansion, and at that time the gas, it absorbs Q2 amount of heat at temperature T2, and volume changes from V1 to V2. Then the second step of Carnot cycle, it is a reversible adiabatic expansion, and for adiabatic expansion the cylinder is insulated, so that the Q change in heat, that is delta Q, it is equal to 0, and this is done at temperature T2, and volume changes from V2 to V3. Here third step of Carnot cycle, it is the isothermal compression, and this isothermal compression, it is done by keeping the cylinder in a cold reservoir. That means due to compression the cylinder loses the heat, and that heat is Q1 at temperature T1, that is lower temperature. And the last step of the Carnot cycle, or fourth step of the Carnot cycle, here it is the adiabatic compression, and this, for performing the adiabatic compression, the cylinder is kept in a insulating stand, and the gas is compressed so that the volume changes from V4 to V1 at temperature T1, lower temperature to higher temperature. Here these are the 4 steps of the Carnot cycle. Then this is the P-feed diagram, or pressure volume diagram of Carnot cycle. Here the first step, volume changes from V1 to V2. For second step, volume changes from V2 to V3, and for third step volume changes from V3 to V4, and for the fourth step the volume changes from V4 to V1. This is the work done, and the work done by the gas, it is given by P delta V, that is area under the curve. This gives the work done. The area covered by these points, it is the net work done, and it is calculated by using the equations. So before that, the calculation of work done, we will see the Carnot's theorem. And the Carnot's theorem, it is stated as, it is impossible to construct an engine operating between two constant temperature reservoir can be more efficient than a reversible engine operating between the same reservoir. That means if any heat engine which operates in the two same temperatures, then their efficiency it is also same. Then the corollary of Carnot theorem, or the Carnot theorem, it is also stated in a different way as all reversible engine operating between the two constant temperature thermal reservoir have the same efficiency. The efficiency of any reversible heat engine operating between two thermal reservoir does not depend on nature of working substance and depends only on temperature of the reservoir. So we will see how the work done in the Carnot cycle. It is calculated by using the equations. We will see to the next lecture. Time being, remember that the four steps of the Carnot cycle, adiabatic and isothermal processes, and the how volume change takes place in step 1, step 2, step 3 and step 4. We will see tomorrow's lecture the work done in a Carnot cycle.